But what you need to understand at the bottom of all of this is that is the agenda. That is what they are trying to do. If something is free, you are the product. If something is accessible, you need to ask, why do they want me to have this? The reason is...
Like, I was the one who just, luckily, honestly, I was just lucky. I just cracked the code of NoFap when I was like 18 years old.
And I'm gonna just say this, bro. The more you beat your meat, the more your shit gonna shrink. The more...
On NoFap.
We're experiencing one of the most trivial times probably known to man. I mean, I haven't lived in medieval times or whatever, but what is going on in today's society is absolutely preposterous, mind-boggling. Not even in society, but within the polarities of man and woman. And almost all of this is a credit to porn. Whether you guys realize this or not, your whole life is dictated by your sexual tendencies, right? We wouldn't have evolved, we wouldn't have reproduced to get to the point of where we are in the world right now if it wasn't for our reproductive impulses, our biological impulses to reproduce. Essentially, that's how we got here. And with that strong biological feeling to reproduce comes a lot of testosterone and a lot of estrogen. And these emotions and hormones are so powerful that they put us into a very malleable and manipulatable state of being. And a lot of us don't have the emotional awareness to deal with it. And I didn't until recently, until I started to look around and saw that everything was sexualized. YouTube thumbnails, Snapchat, magazine articles, advertisements, everything is becoming sexualized. Why? Because sex sells. It is all over the world. And nowadays it's just becoming more obvious than it was prior. So what has this led to? Well, 12-year-olds are getting exposed to hardcore pornography before they even have their first kiss. Now, what do you think that does to a malleable child's mind? Then they're subconsciously in a state of searching this dopamine and oxytocin, which is the love chemical, from their hand, from their screen, rather than from an intimate relationship that you can find in the world. And then continued abuse, continued use of porn only extends the problem, increases the problem. And so many kids don't even realize this because it's subconscious. You're training your brain to get turned on from watching other people have intercourse rather than you yourself engaging in the intercourse. So much, in fact, that 35% of men under the age of 30 are experiencing erectile dysfunction. A few decades ago, that percent was 3%. We have 10x'd, we've 10x'd ED within a few decades. The origin of sex selling has been prehistoric, ancient. It's always been known that men become very easy to manipulate through sex. That's just been known. But what really started this generation's epidemic of pornography was Playboy. Hugh Hefner. A lot of guys look up to him. Absolute beast, a business tycoon, gets all the chicks. But what he did, low-key fucked up society as a whole. Whether he realized it or not, whether that was his intentions or not, he got everyone to realize that one, girls can make a lot of money by exploiting themselves, and two, guys will pay a lot of money to see that. Rather than experience it, they'll just pay to see it. And now we've gone from OnlyFans, now we've gone from Playboy to OnlyFans. And I was talking about this with my girlfriend last night, that there are actually guys who will spend their hard-earned money to think that they're talking to a good-looking girl, when really it's just a dude managing this girl's OnlyFans. Because that's how down bad dudes are. Because they grew up their whole life watching porn to the point where they don't know how to develop intimate relationships with women, so that they pay their hard-earned money just to conversate, just to get attention. Do you guys see how big of a problem this is going to cause? And not only that, there's also a study that showed 88% of the top viewed pornographic videos were violent. And 95% of those violent videos, the woman was submissive and enjoyed the violent behavior. Now, what do you think this leads to? What do you think this does to a young person's mind that is malleable? It's creating unrealistic expectations of what sexual intimacy is like, making these young boys think like, oh, all girls like to just be hit. Look, she loves to be hit. And you get this on top of modern rap music that just glamorizes abuse and just sexualizing women. What do you think happens to these kids? But what you need to understand at the bottom of all of this is that is the agenda. That is what they are trying to do. If something is free, you are the product. If something is accessible, you need to ask, why do they want me to have this? The reason is they want to destroy the family unit. The main goal is what? To depopulate the planet. They don't want the population to keep increasing because it's unsustainable. How are they going to go about depopulating the planet? As many ways as they possibly can. And what's the easiest way to do that? Destroy the relationship between the man and the woman. So now all men think women are shitty because they got their heart broken a couple times. And now all women think that men are shitty because they think that men only want sex. But whose fault is it really? It's not the girl's fault and it's not the guy's fault. Who's shaking the jar? The jar is porn. This is what's causing so many problems in the intimate relationships in today's world. Because people just think that all girls want is sex, and guys or girls get upset that all guys want is sex. But their whole life they've just been fed sex. Every movie you watch, every TV show you watch, every time you go on Instagram and TikTok, everything is sexualized. So it's not the guy's fault and it's not the girl's fault. What we really need to all realize is that we are all one. Rather than hating one another, we already have the division between the political parties. The last thing we need is division between men and women. That is the last thing that we need as a civilization. We will not progress and we will not reproduce unless we can all come to senses with this problem in particular. Here are a few studies that I came across that are absolutely mind-boggling. A neuroscientist found that the brains of those who watch a lot of porn react very similarly to those of a drug addict. When exposed to photographs of the drug in which they are addicted, they react almost uncontrollably. When you think about this, you are basically giving out free heroin. Have you ever thought of it like that? Like, you are literally giving people heroin. Imagine going to the homeless and saying, free heroin, who wants to try it? Free heroin, who wants to try it? What do you think's going to fucking happen to these people? They're going to create an insane dependency for free because you are the product. Heinous. Males who report using pornography during adolescence followed by daily consumption of pornography often advance to viewing extreme content, including violence, to maintain arousal. Over time, these men become less interested in physical intercourse as it is viewed as bland and uninteresting. Men then lose the ability to have sex with a real-life partner. Some who give up on pornography have successfully rebooted and regained their ability to have erections with their partners. Do you guys understand how fucking insane this is? We used to have to defend ourselves from lions and tigers or bears and shit. But now what we need to defend ourselves from is 4K Ultra HD hardcore porn. It's fucked. Not even to make a joke out of it. Like, it is literally that fucked. So what happens if we don't fix this problem? One, there will be no more intimacy. Men and women will no longer be able to love each other because a big thing that keeps relationships together is the sexual life. And if this can't be a thing, there won't be any reason for men and women to want to spend their time together. Intimacy won't be a thing. The planet will depopulate because how do you populate a planet? Sex. And how do you populate a planet when guys can't get bricked up from real life intercourse? It's kind of hard. No pun intended. And on top of the LGBTQ agenda that they're pushing onto people, and also in an attempt to depopulate the planet, this is fucked, guys. This is one of the biggest problems that we've ever dealt with. So if you are a young man watching this, resist the urge every single time you see sexualized content. You are stronger than that. You need to be stronger than that. In sake of your subconscious brain in the future generations. If we don't make the difference, who is going to, bro? The society has already fallen down to the point where if we don't make a difference soon, we'll never come back from this. And then if you're a girl seeing this, please bear with the guys that are dealing with this. And if they don't understand that they're dealing with this, talk to them about it. And a lot of guys will not open up to this because it's very embarrassing to a majority of guys. But what they need is not someone that ridicules them and embarrasses them, but someone who listens and someone who understands that, yo, you were exposed to porn at a young age. That is not your fault. That is society's fault for allowing HD, 4K, hardcore porn to be accessible to a 10-year-old's brain, brother. In the grand scheme of things, if we don't fix this problem or become aware of this problem, it'll lead to both men and women being depressed and lonely. And we don't want that. We want a happy, prosperous society full of people that spread love to one another. And it all starts with the root cause, which is porn. But I don't want to end this video on a negative Nancy note. I want to end this video on a bright note. One that is hopeful, where we never really saw the repercussions until recently, because now we're seeing what it does to young kids' brains over time. We're seeing it in so many countless relationships. And in Create Reality, we have someone to talk to about this problem because so many people are dealing with it. It can't be pushed under the rug. It is a race that will never be won unless you confront the problem head on. And it's one worth confronting head on. Do not keep pushing it under the rug, because the more you prolong it, the harder and harder it will be, just like heroin, just like meth. You have to realize that, one, you probably have a problem, and two, to be stronger than the problem, to be honest with yourself and to be patient with yourself, because it's not easy and it's going to be hard, but anything is capable, or you are capable of anything once you believe in yourself and are patient with yourself. So I would love to hear you guys' comments and feedback on this video, and be honest in the comments. Open up about your story and how you dealt with it, because I was exposed to porn at like the age of 12, and it took me a long time to really overcome it. And it's not easy. It's very hard, because the quick dopamine that is there on demand whenever you want is heinous. It is at your fingertips. I mean, think about how back in medieval times, sex was the ultimate prize. Like, just having sex was the ultimate form of dopamine and oxytocin. And now you can get that without having to chase anyone, without having to spit any game. Now you can get that same feeling within moments without leaving your seat. Think about how fucked that is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm incredibly passionate about this topic because there's nothing more important than us solving this problem. So don't forget to drop a like. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.